So, the joiner. Now we got parts. What do you want to call this? What do you suppose we call this over here? This is the side that your piece moves in from. This is your side that your piece moves out. What do we want to call this? You guys ready for a hint? Okay. There's two tables on a joiner. There's an in-feed table and an out-feed table. Which one do you want to call this one? Dylan? The in-feed table. That makes Mason out-feed table. Thank you. What do we suppose we call this? Somebody other than Dylan or Mason. Miles. This is the guard, okay? This retracts back and it swings back shut, okay? What do we call this? So the cylinder that spins around in here. What do we got, Luke? Anything? Jaden? No? This cylinder holds your blades. Damien, anything? What do we call this that spins around? Lillian? That's the cutter head. In-feed table, out-feed table, cutter head. The cutter head holds three of these things that are the super sharp things that do your cutting, Luke. What are they? Can't hear you, bud. Blades. Real rocket science. They're sharp and they cut. They are blades. This is the cutter head and it holds your blades. What's this that holds your piece perpendicular to that cutter head? Okay, you got it? Fence, good job. Up here is your fence control handle. That's used actually when you are adjusting your fence, because that fence will loosen up and you can actually pivot that over at any angle between 90 and down to 45. So if you need to make a bevel and joint something at a bevel, or even knock off a corner at a chamfer, you can do that. This fence is adjustable, as all of them mostly are. You can move this so that you're using this side of the blade or the whole center of the blade or whatever, okay? So why would we want to adjust it? Any ideas? What are your thoughts, William? What? Yeah. Which part of this blade do you think gets the most abuse and the most wear the fastest? Damien? Yeah, this side over here, okay? That's the part that's going to get the most abuse. Later on in the semester, when you're doing finer work, we're going to want to move it over, because I'm going to change the blades here in about a week or so when you guys get started. I'm going to change the blades so that you got brand new sharp blades. But this part is going to be the last part to dull out. So it's going to be that part over there. Again, the on-off switch, the dust collector gate, make sure that you open it before you start it. 4-inch margin of safety. Everywhere around that cutter head, keep a 4-inch margin of safety. You saw that when I fed pieces through, I just feed with nice firm pressure, and I make sure that my hands are on a utensil. They're on a push stick, they're on a platen. Remember that these are push sticks, okay? Or this is a push stick, okay? Two varying designs. These are called platens, okay? They're kind of flat like a plate. Down here is the base, because that's on the test. Hey, how many knives are on that cutter head? Billion? 3, good job. If I want to adjust the depth of how much I'm cutting, which table do I move? Which table do I move, Blaze? In-feed table, yep. The joiner can be, true or false, the joiner can be tilted from 90 degrees down to 45. The fence. True or false? It can be tilted from 90 to 45. Mason? True. Good job. What are your thoughts on this? I told you a little bit about it when I was talking about adjusting your depth of cut. The harder that a stock is, so the harder that your piece of wood is, you think we take more off or less off? If it's a really hard material, like a walnut or a hickory, something very hard, do we take more off than maybe a cedar that's super soft? Miles?
No, less.
Less. The harder, the less we take. Got it? Make sure that when you're feeding your piece through, you feed it through firmly against the table and against the fence. Don't let it slide away. Use those platings when joining what? What do we call? You learned 2 terms today. This is what? What do we call this? Mason? A face. This is what? Dylan? An edge. Face and edge. Face and edge. That makes this a what? What do you want to call this? Lillian? An end. So there's 2 ends, there's 2 faces, and there's 2 edges. That's it. That's all of it. That's all 6 sides. So we use platings, these things, when we're jointing what? You got any idea? We use these when we're jointing what? What? This is on the test. You're going to take this test in a minute. Faces. Okay, jointing faces. Always stand to the side so that you don't get hit with a kickback. Okay, just like on the table saw, don't stand in that line of cut. So you're operating it from over here. I don't ever want you jointing an end grain. Okay, I don't care how wide your piece is. Don't joint the end of it. Not on our jointers. Always check your piece over for any loose knots, any nails, any imperfections that might cause issue. Make sure that the guard stays on at all times. What's the most that we can cut on here? What's the most that I ever want you cutting? Or what's this going to be set at all the time? 1/16 of an inch. That's what I want you cutting. One thing I didn't talk about yet is don't ever cut anything that's less than 12 inches. Okay, 12 inches is the minimum length that I want running through this joiner. Questions? Anything? Any questions? Dylan?
What's the smallest width for a jointing?
Okay, his question is, what's the smallest width that you can joint? Is that your question? Whatever. You can joint, if you needed to, you could joint something this narrow, but can I do it without the use of push sticks? No. I would have to use push sticks. I probably wouldn't want this one for this, but I would need a push stick back here, and I would prefer to have one like this in this end here to push down and in. So I would be like this, feeding it through. Okay. So you asked what's the narrowest that you can joint? Anything that will very flatly glide from the in-feed table to the out-feed table. I think what you wanted to ask is what's the narrowest that you can joint without the use of a push stick? Is that accurate? Why did you ask that? Oh, because it's on your test? So answer that. Help him out. What's the narrowest that I can joint without having to use push sticks? What's the narrowest? Luke? What?